Undertale, a series many people were introduced to thanks to the Tumblr #1 sexy man, the funny bone guy, Sans the Skeleton. This video is not about him. This is about 3 other characters from Undertale who all have some insane scaling that is, like I said, insane, and something you just wouldn't expect to come out of an indie game like this. I guess maybe you would. Regardless, the 3 strongest characters in Undertale, Omega Flowey, Akira only at the end of Genocide, and Asriel with all 7 souls, are the strongest in Undertale. Not Sans, I don't want to hear it. Not Gaster either, he has no canon feats or anything canon to him at all. But all of that being said, Goku. Crazy transition, right? He is the benchmark for scaling. It's always, can he beat Goku, though? And that's the question we are here to answer. Can anyone from Undertale scale to the level of Goku Versal? Now, as many of you might know, I am first a Dragon Ball fan, second an Undertale fan. That's the order there. Those are my 2 favorite things. So I'm not downplaying Dragon Ball to make Undertale look better, and I'm not upscaling Undertale so that they do beat Goku, or don't beat Goku, or at least close, or whatever. We'll see how that goes. So first, I'm going to start with Omega Flowey. He's the one that needs most in-depth scaling. So we're going to start with his attack potency, right? So Flowey, at the end of the neutral route, after you beat Asgore, he kills Asgore, or finishes Asgore off, however you want to put it, and then absorbs the 6 human souls. And in that moment, he crashes your game, mind you, before he finishes absorbing the souls. And once you boot back up the game, everything's erased. He even erases your save file after you load the game. So assuming, which it is pretty widely agreed that he does erase every timeline in that moment, we need to figure out how many timelines they really erase, right? So obviously, this varies a lot depending on how good or completely trash at the game you are, since every time you die, you load a save, which creates another timeline. As well as, you know, if this isn't your first run, if this is like your 5th try, you know, stuff like that. All, you know, increases this variable. Now, none of that matters, because Flowey himself has already reset so many times that this feat isn't absurd. Because in the Genocide route, towards the end, before you fight Sans, Flowey explains that he's done everything. Taking that at face value, everything is a lot. I doubt he's reset an infinite amount of times, that just doesn't make sense. But that does mean he's reset in unquantifiable amount of times, at the very least. So, destroying an unquantifiable amount of timelines in an instant is a multiversal, if not high multiversal feat. And it's hard to say if Flowey did that feat before he finished absorbing the souls, like as he crashed the game, or if he does it before you boot up the game, but does have all 6 souls already fully absorbed at that time. Now, all that really changes is whether or not you can upscale him from that feat at all. I'm just going to leave it at baseline multiversal, because it's the most fair, I feel like. I don't personally think it's high multi, I think it's more just base multi. So, you know, that's insane attack potency. And durability is just weird to scale for Undertale, because, like, sure, he's this crazy, powerful, borderline god, but he's getting stabbed with a knife from a child. Does that really make sense? No. Now, he takes essentially no damage during the majority of the fight until you call for help to all of the souls and they, you know, drop his defense to 0. And you can't check Flowey, so there's no way to know what his canon defense stat is to, you know, compare it to other monsters. So, the fact that he's taking any damage from a child with a knife, it's still not good, you know, it's not... It doesn't matter against Goku, right? Like, one punch and he's dead. Now, another factor that can go into their defensive capabilities beyond just flat-out durability is speed, which in Undertale is pretty hard to quantify, since, you know, you don't see them moving at, like, light speed or nothing, or anything like that, really. But Flowey erases everything before the start of this fight, and then is still moving. Now, assuming he actually did erase all of space and time, which, I mean, I guess you can't really say with absolute certainty, or say it's not true for absolute certainty. So for the sake of having any way of scaling his speed, I'm gonna say he did. Which means he would be moving in a realm with no time. And without time, you require either infinite or immeasurable speed to move at all. I just googled how fast you have to be to move outside of time. The answer I got was infinite. So infinite speed, not immeasurable. Right. And you know what? That's pretty good, actually. I mean, it's infinite speed. And so a quick, brief rundown of the stats that I'm giving Omega Flowey here. Baseline multiversal attack potency. Just, you know, weird durability. I can't really quantify it that well. So I'm probably just gonna, you know, put it like building level, because that's about how strong most monsters are, on the high tier like Asgore and Undyne. And then infinite speed, because he moves in a realm with no time. Now, for our second combatant, Kara, specifically at the very end of Genocide, after you kill Flowey. So this one is going to be a lot easier now that we've set these baselines with Omega. So, for attack potency, it's the same thing. Kara's one and only feat is erasing everything, arguably with higher difficulty than Flowey. So, you know, still basic multiversal. Durability, I mean, it's like I said, it's really hard to quantify Undertale stats with durability. I know for a fact it's not enough to take any blows from Goku, so it's pretty irrelevant there. And speed, once again, Kara is able to move outside the confines of space and time at both the end of Genocide and if you try to reopen the game after it. And so, once again, infinite speed. Now there is one more thing I want to bring the attention to for the previous two characters before moving on to Asriel. Saving, loading, and resetting. They can continuously come back and learn the attack patterns of their opponent and continue to find ways around it. Now there are a couple ways I can go about this. I could just say I'm going to ignore it, because, I mean, why not? Give it, you know, make it a one-try fight, not infinite attempts. Or, I can let them reset, and then see how Goku is able to potentially counter that, or not counter that later on. So, with that said, on to the final Undertale character, Asriel, who has even simpler scaling here. There are two ways to scale his attack potency. One, the exact same way Omega Flowey and Kara's are scaled, so multiversal. Or B, he canonically has infinite attack. Infinite attack potency. Whatever you choose is up to you. It really doesn't matter. I'll get into why later. And then for durability, because there's nothing else I can use, his in-game stats are the only thing I'm going off for his durability. So, infinite, because if you check, he says infinite defense. And finally, for speed, the same scaling as Omega Flowey and Kara. You know, I have no other real feats to go off. Unless you want to count the little rainbow effect as after images, but that doesn't scale him get him to scale any higher, so it's irrelevant. I guess I didn't really explain why I gave him that attack scaling to multiversal, because it's arguable whether or not he destroyed everything with the Hyper Goner, in the middle of, or at the end of Phase 1. I personally think he did, because knew he could just remake it later. And, after that, when Phase 2 starts, it says the world is ending. That aside, even if he didn't, he's stronger than Omega Flowey. He just has to be, because Omega Flowey has power equivalent to 6 souls, he has a power equivalent to 7. He's stronger than Omega Flowey regardless. Now, it's not enough to bump him up an attack sphere, he's still just multiversal, but that is my reasoning behind it. Now, there's a little bit of hacks I wanted to get into with Asriel. How his second phase is, you're unable to move your body, right? It's not really shown how or why that's the case, but just assuming that he has some way to immobilize you, that is a pretty good hack to have in a versus battle, especially against, Goku. All that being said, now on to the man, the myth, the legend, the can he beat Goku though man? Goku. Now, plenty of people have scaled Goku countless times. Some of them are completely wrong, either way over-scaling him or super under-scaling him. But, there's one feat that scales above all of his other feats that we see. In Battle of Gods, both in the manga and anime, during his Clash of Beerus, he threatens to destroy the entirety of Universe 7 from punching. Universe 7 is a pretty complex macrocosm. If I'm remembering correctly, it is the World of the Living, which is an infinite-sized universe, Otherworld, which is also infinite in size, Heaven and Hell, which are larger infinites than the regular universe, as well as the World of the Kais, which is also infinite, and the Demon Realm, which may or may not be infinite. I don't know, I haven't watched Daima. So, that's 5, maybe 6 infinite realms being destroyed, which is low multiversal. Goku in Battle of Gods is low multiversal, and then that becomes the strength of his base form in the anime continuity, not explicitly stated in the manga, or even implied in the manga at all, actually. But the way I see it, he does get unquantifiably stronger throughout the the entirety of Super, but just not enough to bump him up above low multiversal in terms of attack potency. So that's where he sits, low multiversal. It's a very common occurrence in Dragon Ball that characters can tank as much damage as they can output. We see this on Goku training on his way to Namek, as well as some point on King Kai's planet. I don't know what arc that's in off the top of my head. But he hits himself with a Kamehameha. Presumably at full power, because it wouldn't be training otherwise, right? And he can tank it pretty neutrally. Not like he's taking it super well, and not like he's taking significant damage from it. So, we can say he at least has low multiversal durability. Once again, I don't think he gets strong enough between Battle of Gods and the end of Super to say he's anything above low multiversal in either of these categories. So once again, it's where he's sitting. And for speed, in the future timeline, the end of the Goku Black arc in both the manga and anime, he pushes the Zeno button, and Zeno erases the timeline. Now, after that, he comes back to that timeline to, take the other Zeno with him. But in that, we see him move in a timeline that doesn't exist. Just like with Asriel, Kara, and Omega Flowey, he's moving in a space that has no time. So that's infinite speed. There's a couple hacks I wanted to get into with Goku. First, and the most obvious one, Ultra Instinct. His body reacts without his mind thinking at all, or telling the body what to do, that kind of thing. So he's able to dodge, attack, counterattack, block, whatever, without thinking. Now, that's pretty good. He doesn't have to know how to dodge something to dodge it. It's, meant to be the perfect defense and perfect offense. Now, there's another two hacks I want to get into that are manga only. One of them's from the Goku Black arc. I'll put a timestamp on screen for when I stop talking about manga stuff, but if it's... I'll give another warning before I talk about the one that's not Goku Black arc if you don't care about the manga version of Goku Black arc, but do care about manga-only content, you know, like the 2 arcs after Tournament of Power. With that being said, at the end of the Goku Black arc, not the end, sorry, more like the middle, when Zamasu fuses into Fusamasu, Goku is able to replicate the Hakai. Now, Zamasu's immortality is a lot more sound in his fused form than it is in the anime. So it's safe to say the Hakai works on things that are immortal. The only reason I really bring this ability up is Asriel, infinite durability. I'm not sure exactly how this matches up, because Zamasu's immortality functions differently in concept than Asriel's. Asriel just has infinite durability, he just doesn't take damage to begin with, whereas Zamasu takes damage but just regenerates, regardless of how severe it is. Now, I'll give it to Goku. I'll say the Hakai works on Asriel, because his Hakai takes a while to work properly, because it's incomplete and he never refines it any further than that. And that's it for the Goku Black spoiler, or manga Goku Black spoilers. So if you were fine seeing that, but don't want to see stuff from the, manga exclusive arcs, skip to the prior stated, the timestamp I said before. But I'll put it on screen again. With that being said, in the manga, we see it first in the Moro arc, and see it a bit more in the Granola arc. I was going to say gas arc, because it's basically the gas arc at that point. But regardless, when Goku's body cannot react properly, Ultra Instinct, and Ultra Instinct is active, of course, but the way it functions is he creates what is commonly referred to as a Susanoo, because that's what it looks like. But it's a ki avatar, his godly ki, forming the same shape as his self, to attack when he can't. We first see this in the Moro arc at the end when Moro is grabbing him, so he literally can't move, and that's why the Ki Avatar is created, to attack for him because his body's unable to move. And then we see this later in the Granola arc when he's fighting Gas. Well, he is unconscious, but UI is still active, so the Avatar manifests and attacks for him once again. Now, the reason I'm bringing this hack up is because, like I described earlier about Asriel's immobilization, I don't know how that works, but if it is just immobilization, just flat-out paralysis, this is how Goku can counter it. And with all of that being said, I'm sorry, but Goku's not winning, right? All three of them have the exact same speed as him, as well as a higher attack potency, and Kara and Omega Flowey most likely have a lower durability than him. I highly doubt their durability matches their attack potency. But it doesn't matter if sure, they're just as fast, but they only need one move to get off to win. Especially because the difference between low multiversal and just regular multiversal is such a large gap that Goku throughout the entirety of Super can't close it. It's just, he's cooked, right? He's getting one shot, that's it. And for Asriel, it's even worse, because, sure, he could Hakai Asriel, but not faster than Asriel could kill him. It's just not gonna happen. And once again, Goku's my favorite character, right? Well, not character, sorry. Dragon Ball is my favorite series. It's, but I think it's fun. I'm one of the Dragon Ball fans that think it's hilarious when Goku loses these versus battles, as long as it makes sense, right? Having him lose to, Fortnite Billie Eilish, that would just be stupid, right? But a versus battle where he genuinely loses to a character you don't think he would is just funny. Him losing to Sailor Moon will never not be funny to me. But that all being said, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. My bad for it taking at least 11 days as of recording. Not for any reason other than my terrible time management and procrastination. Woohoo. And that being said, see you all in the next video. Undertale, a series many of you know. Yep, that's how you guys know it. Yep. 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 Undertale, a series a lot of you may know because of the phony. Wow! Great takes, guys. Undertale. Yep, full stop. Undertale. Moai emoji.